My next guest is the author of this very successful book, Grace-Filled Marriage. Dr. Kimmel is a well-known national speaker and best-selling author of many books and video series, as well as the executive director of Family Matters, which impacts millions of homes each year with God's message of grace and hope. In this book, Grace-Filled Marriage, Dr. Kimmel says that grace is the plus sign to counter all the negatives inherent in a partnership. And he is encouraging all of us who are married to exercise more grace in our relationships. Welcome, Dr. Kimmel.
Glad to be with you.
So what does grace look like in a marriage?
Well, most of the time in our marriage, we don't realize how much we're running on the own steam of our love, our onboard love. Sounds great, except it's not enough, because life comes at us. There was a couple got married out in the Phoenix area where we live, and they were most interested in having one of those marriages that no one would ever forget. and I think they fell right into the trap that our culture is, that I think our culture is more interested in weddings than they are in what follows them.
Yeah.
And even though the pastor tried to get them to pay attention during their marriage prep courses, all they wanted was this great marriage. And one of them found out that there was this guy that had these doves. And they would be in cages up at the front. You know, and it would be an illustration of their love. And one had a pink ribbon around it, and one had a little blue. And at the point they would let them go, and they'd fly up together, and somehow this. And it sounded so beautiful. Well, the appropriate time came. And here's this couple who thought they could make it on their own love, and they came there, and the pastor said, yeah, this represents their love, and so forth. They flew off. And it was beautiful. People were watching it. But, Maggie, Arizona has a large hawk population.
Oh, no.
And there was one way up there.
Oh.
And he swooped down, and they were not sure whether it was the bride's head or the groom's head that got lopped off, but it got hit hard. And boom, and it just sucked the oxygen out of the crowd. No, they did get one wish, and that is no one ever forgot that wedding. I mean, it was,
yes.
But their marriage didn't last 2 years. Because they didn't realize that just because we have love, man, we need something more. And I look at God's grace as like the Kevlar we put around our love, that bulletproof, that armor that protects our love from all the hits. And some of the hits come from the outside, but some of the hits come like from the inside.
You make such a great point in the book that it's easier for us to show grace to our friends and our coworkers, but it's hard to show grace to our spouse. Why is that?
Well, I know couples that show more grace to their pets than they do to each other. Well, part of it is you know, we are seeing each other at our best and our worst. And to a certain extent, it's taken a bit of advantage of the commitment. We're saying, well, you know, we're in this for life. We signed up. But if we are going to be that, why can't we have joy? Why can't we have a love that ferments and gets better as we get older? I think the only way we can do it is when we let God's grace do the work it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
But don't you think one of the problems we all have as Christians is we tend to limit God's grace to the work of salvation. And then we go on a performance basis with God. And then and we think we have to earn it or whatever, or we don't want to lose it. And then we'll do the same thing to our spouse. And everybody loses there. But God's grace changes everything.
And that transitions to what you call lenses that we look through. And you have a number of them. So there's the me lens, the love if lens, the pious lens, and the grace lens.
Yeah. And these things here, these are what we typically look at each other through. And by the way, you can be looking at these and still have a pretty nice marriage, and people think it's great. Darcy and I had these three lenses we were using, but they were all selfishly oriented. But then we needed that clear grace lens to make all the difference in the world. Because when grace is here, and we can do this in one sentence, a grace-filled marriage is simply treating your spouse the way God treats us, you and me. And when we look at how he deals with us, it's not about him. It's not with conditions. It's not with self-righteousness and piety behind it. It's just, he cares so much. But I don't think we can do that in our own power. I think we need a relationship with him, not so much as a couple, but individually.
Yeah. You talk about training for a marathon, and that's essentially how we have to kind of view our spiritual life. How we train and how we take that seriously, and the regimented schedule that we have is the way that we need to do that so that we can then show grace to our spouse.
But I find that grace is so abstract to so many Christians. They do get the salvation part, but they don't understand that God was saying, hey, this grace that I saved you with, I want it now to wash over you and define you and become your default mode. And so in the book, what I do is I actually distill God's grace down to a paper napkin. And I show that you can actually take his active grace and the way he's treating us and put it on a napkin and have very specific tactical type of ways that this can activate. And one of the ways, for instance, was meeting their inner needs, and we all have a need for security, significance, and strength or adequacy. And the way we build security into our spouses is secure love. And that love gives us gives, as married couples, a way to show it that we don't have with anybody else, and that's through intimacy, sexual intimacy.
Talk a little bit more about that, because you and Darcy also have talked about, what intimacy looks like in your relationship.
Yeah. Well, when we got married, and we were married a while, we realized that, this whole thing of sexual intimacy, this is a major part of a marriage. Now, it doesn't mean it's focused on it all the time or self-absorbed. You certainly don't worship this stuff. It's just that this is why people ultimately get married. There's other things but this is the main thing that makes a couple unique, that they share only with each other. And yet, we notice how easy it is, not just for each other, but all the people we work with. I see Christian couples, many times they view sex as an obligation. It's Saturday night, time for our interlude, okay, ready, go, that kind of. Or they use it to manipulate or control their spouse, or they use it to punish their spouse. I see two extreme uses of when it comes to intimacy. I see sometimes they demand it. They demand it. They think, wait a minute, sex is something that's given, not taken. And God never
treating your spouse like property, really.
Right, property. Yeah. Or they defraud it. And I'm not saying to punish them. I'm just saying, hey, nothing in it for me. I'm just not interested. And say, wait a minute, you're married. That person cast their lot with you. They have no other biblical moral outlet in this. We got to be there. So for she and I, we first of all, let me use a prop here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I find that when it comes to this part of our lives as couples, it's not uncommon for a couple to come at it from kind of two different perspectives. You have one that's really looking at this thing from the emotional heart connection, and the other is looking at more from the hip connection, the physical part. So we kind of understand what this refers to, but let's call this party central. They're really interested.
Yes.
Okay, and it's not uncommon. It could switch around, but oftentimes the wife that really is wanting that close emotional connection, and the husband is looking forward to all that physical stuff. Well, listen, men, what camera am I want to look right in the camera. Men, pay attention. If you want your wife to be more interested in this, then you need to be more interested in this. And wives, if you want your husband to be more interested in this aspect of your life, you need to be more interested in this. But you see, what does that assume? An outward focused orientation. I think this thing works better when these things work in tandem as a team and they're together. And that I just don't think we do well in our own power. We need something bigger than us. That's the cross.
And so I'm hearing my sisters out there saying, but Dr. Kimmel, I'm not interested in it. Or he just doesn't understand me. How am I supposed to get there?
Yeah.
And then I'm hearing the guys out there saying, but I just don't understand her. I don't understand what she wants. Everything I do is wrong. So how do you mentally get there?
See, once again, everything you just said, though, is still looking through one of those lenses up here. Me, that person, conditions. And when we say, Jesus, I just want to care for this spouse the way you care for me. I mean, he was willing to lay it all on the line and go to the cross for us. And once again, I think that guy out there saying, I don't know what it takes to please her. First of all, guys, go to God and become connected to him through Jesus. And there's nothing sissified about that. I mean, this is as masculine as you can get. And then just say, I want to become a student of my wife. I want to care for her. And you win her heart a whole lot more, not when you do everything right in bed, but when you're just treating her with such respect and honor and graciousness and kindness and mercy throughout the day. And you care about her. And I think when a woman has a man that cares for her like that, she's inclined towards him. Darcy and I, though, we solved this thing. We just said, look, the chance of one of us being in the mood at the same time, it's just rare. You have to almost plan those. So we developed what we call a convenience store attitude towards sexual intimacy, meaning, convenience stores, those things down at the corner, they're just open all the time, right? They're available. They're willing and they're enthusiastic about helping you. And we just said, let's just have that attitude. Well, that doesn't come from Tim or Darcy naturally. It only comes when Jesus we're giving him the focus he needs. And it has to be this way. The only way I could do that is I've got to love God more than I love her. I've got to love him more. She's got to love him more than she loves me. And when he is first, and his heart is becoming our hearts individually, then a lot of these things just take care of themselves.
You use a word that I think is so important in relationships, security.
Yeah.
Knowing that you are secure in that relationship, that it's safe, that you're accepted. You talk about freedom and just accepting our spouse for who they are.
Yes.
These are so important.
Yeah.
Enabling your spouse to feel secure in their
Yeah.
relationship.
My daughter, Karis, got married, and she asked me to give a blessing for her, and I decided to write a poem for her. It's in his book, and what she married this wonderful man, and I went through these different stanzas where I said, love him more than fame, love him more than wealth, love him more than friends, love him more than rest, love him even more than your own breath and your own life. But I said, here's how I close it off though. I said, oh please, dear daughter, love this man, yet do not think this odd. Be careful that no matter what, you love him less than God. For in the shadow of the cross, in spite of second place, he'll know. He'll see his heart secure by the peace on your sweet face. The greatest gift you give his wife is loving Christ above your life. And so I bid you now to bless. Go love him more and love him less. And all this book is about is how we can turn God's grace into the default mode of our married life.
Can you take a few minutes, Dr. Kimmel, maybe speak into that camera to someone who might not even know who Jesus is and might be wondering, okay, I hear this word grace, but what does that look like? How do I even accept that first through Jesus?
God saw a problem in his relationship with us, and that we had broken that relationship through our own sin. We all have this inclination to fall away from God, to go our own way. And the Bible talked about that. And we're born kind of with this inclination. And yet God wanted to have a relationship with us. And so he knew the only way that could happen is he had to basically buy us from our sin. He had to purchase the price to get us out of our mess, because we can't get to him on our own. No matter how hard we try, our best days will not measure up to the holiness of God. And so God, through his son Jesus, came down, took on human flesh. We celebrate that at Christmas as Mary having this baby from a virgin birth of Jesus. And he grew up for one primary reason, so that he could go to a cross and take your sin and my sin on himself and die in our place. He paid the price that our sin deserved. The Bible says the wages of sin is death, but the free gift of God is eternal life. So he died. And all to have a relationship with him, all we have to do is just put our faith in what he did for us and recognize that, I'm a sinner. I can't save myself. You love me in spite of that. You paid the price. I'm so grateful. Please forgive me. Set me free, Lord, and make my life new. And he will. He will. It's an act of faith.
Yeah, grace is free.
It's free.
There's no charge for it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again,
You're
Dr.
welcome.
Kimmel. The book is called Grace-Filled Marriage. It's available at our e-store. Just log on to 100huntleystreet.com and follow the links.